I watched a movie last night. Censor is about a woman who works in censorship, and while she's watching a movie, she sees an actress who she recognizes to be her missing sister. This movie follows Eden, who works in censorship. She is really good at her job. A lot of people find her to be too good at her job. Some people find that she's prudish, that she doesn't understand the concept of horror movie, and that she is banding and getting rid of great parts of movies that make good horror. So people are very like, you're tight ass, ease up a little bit. And so when she does finally ease up a little bit, the movie that she allows to pass, everybody's pissed off because this was back in the 80s. So a lot of people, thought Dungeons and Dragons and horror movies were the gateway drug to occults. So when this movie that she lightens up a bit lets pass, people are pissed about it. But she's also struggling with the loss of her little sister that she lost when she was a little girl. And while she's watching a movie from a director who is like known to have gory snuff-like movies, she sees the actress and she thinks that's her little sister. So she is determined to find this director and find out if this is indeed her little sister that has been missing for years and years and years. If you're a fan of Sofia Coppola movies, you might really like this movie. I find that it was very soft and very feminine and just like very sensitive and just very, like woman-y. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It was just very soft. It had really great aesthetics because it was supposed to be placed in the 1980s, and it truly looked like a 1980s vibe. They had, like, from the details in the books that they were on the desk, for the details in the hair and the makeup and the costuming, they did a really good job of making this look like a soft 80s aesthetic. They did a really good job of that. This film was okay for me. It was a good story and it was laid out pretty good, and it had a good from the beginning to the finish. But for me, it wasn't a very active movie. Like, there wasn't any jump scares. There weren't any questions that the audience got to figure out. It was said to be a mystery, but there wasn't much of a game to it. It was just literally like the audience just sit there and watch how the story unravels. And I'm not really that big of a fan of those types of horror movies. I like to jump scare and I like to try to figure out what's going on, and I like the eerie music and things like that. It wasn't too much of that in this movie, which was okay. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't a bad movie or anything. Just for me, when I want to see a horror movie, I like to talk back to the screen. I like to see people making wrong decisions. I like to be active, like, who's that? What was that? Where are you guys going? What's going on? I like to try to figure it out as the main character is figuring it out. And this movie was just very like, sit back and relax. We're going to give you a vibe. We're going to show you pretty. We're going to give you an aesthetic. It wasn't such an eerie feeling. There wasn't much suspense or tension. It was just like I'm gonna, drink your Chardonnay and sit down and watch a movie, which is okay. I felt like the pacing of this movie was interesting. I was on board at the beginning, but then after it had its inciting incident, I thought the movie was going to pick up and go like, race. It didn't. It actually slowed way, way, way down, and it dragged a little bit for me. It almost lost me, but I realized I was really close to the end, so I stuck with it. But yeah, it just, again, it wasn't very like, like, let's go. It was more like a slow pace, just chill. And so that lost me a little bit, but then it did pick up within the last maybe 5 to 8 minutes, where it had like really interesting editing, and then you were left to your own device to figure out if you understood the story, like, without spoiling it. It just did a good job leaving you, the audience member, to figure out if you understood what was going on, if that makes sense. Yeah, so not my cup of tea, not a bad movie. It was actually a really good story. So if you're into like a slow vibe where there's not too much stakes, more entry level horror, you might like this movie. I did, however, like the special effects. It gave an 80s feel, so it was like a kind of a cheesy feel, but as if it was taking place in the 80s, which I like how it stayed true to that. So this movie definitely paid really good attention to details. But yeah, if you guys are interested in watching it, do it. Have you guys seen this movie? What did you guys think? Was this more of your vibe, or do you think it needed to be faster? Do you think it needed to be slower? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Hey Shantae, and what did you watch last night?